In today's video, you're going to learn how to take your N8N AI agents and transform them into fully functioning web applications. The problem with AI agents is that they're messy, they're unorganized, your data is all over the place. But today, we're going to learn how we can store that data in a front-end interface. Now, the beautiful thing about AI is it allows us to build these fully functioning web apps without the use of code, but rather with our natural language. So I'm going to show you how to do that in today's video, and we're going to be transforming our AI agent into a fully built, fully functioning web application. So what we're going to be doing is turning this AI agent that can create blog posts, holistic blog posts about natural healing, into a fully functional web application. So we don't even need to go to N8N once we build out the workflow, but we can have all of our automation start by this generate new article button and just hitting generate new article once I type in a topic and a title and select a style. And once the article is done, it's going to pull it right to the front end and we have a single blog page where we can view all of that. Now, I'm going to show you how to build this from start to finish using 3 tools: Lovable, N8N, and Supabase. It's very simple, but let's take a look at some of the functionality. I can type in an article title here. Maybe I can name it The Benefits of Water-Only Fasting. I can make it something kind of edgy, maybe why modern medicine is a lie and how you can heal yourself through water-only fasting. I've set up this agent to be a very overly confident, holistic doctor. So it's going to create its blog post like that as well. So here's my topic. I can select my writing style, and for now, I'll hit execute workflow so that this can watch for data. I could always activate this and have it running automatically, and I'll hit generate article. Now what's happening is it's generating our article, which really means this agent is going to work. And once it finishes the process of creating that blog, it's going to send it back to our front end where we're going to be able to view all of this. So technically, I don't even have to have N8N open. That's just what's happening in the background. But what I've done is I've created an interface for that agent. So I can start my automations or my agentic workflows from here. And I can also view the content once it gets generated. So this takes about, 15 to 30 seconds. But now you can see article generated successfully. And when I hit view article, we now have the result of this agent. And so if I go to my archive page, you can also see it populates in my archive page, my home page populates in my home page. I can really navigate this and change it to be whatever I want it to. Now I'm going to tell you right now, this video is only going to be scratching the surface of what it actually means to build out fully functional web applications from your AI agents. If you genuinely want to master this and want to monetize your application and get a fully authenticated backend, and you want to have literally everything you need to know, then join the AI Foundations community where we have the full vibe coding mastery course that shows you how to monetize, authenticate, and deploy your application. Now, this community is more than that course that I just mentioned, but if you go to the classroom and go into the Agents to Apps course, we have a 50+ module course in Agents to Apps. And the beautiful thing about this is we actually hired a software developer, Paulo, to be a part of the team and to create this course because he has the actual software development background where he understands the technicalities, but he teaches you how to build these apps with no code and how to actually add paid features to these apps so people can sign up for your subscriptions to access those paid features. People can create accounts. He shows you how to deploy these applications. So, just take a look at all of these deep dive modules that you're going to get to take you from beginner to pro when it comes to using AI to create apps with natural language. Paulo is amazing, and nowhere else on the internet will you find a course this in-depth on taking your agents and turning them into apps. And when you need support, that's why it's great joining the community, because we have a support forum where you can literally ask any question and get it answered every single time. We also have a live call where you can bring your project live to AI experts and get answers to your problems, to your agents, to your apps and automations. So if you want to be serious about this, then skip this video, click the link in the description and the top pinned comment, and go start learning from this course where you're going to learn it from the ground up. But if you're going to stick around for this video and you're not going to go to that course, it's still going to be very valuable. I'm going to show you how to connect an agent to a front end, and we're going to do it completely from scratch together. So first, before we start building, you need to understand what is vibe coding, because that's what we're going to be using today in order to build the apps. And you might think coding, anything to do with coding is kind of scary, especially if you are not a developer or have zero previous coding experience. But just want to let you know, I'm not a developer. I don't have coding experience, but vibe coding allows you to become a developer. And simply put, vibe coding is where you tell a large language model what you want and it codes for you, which is super useful for building all of these cool web apps and connecting them to your agents. So here's a real example, and it's the one I just showed you. This was my prompt to a vibe coding software that we're going to be using. I said, build me a blogging website that has a natural health and holistic feel that allows for a single blog page and also an archive page to see all past blogs. Allow me to add a new blog with a quick form field. That's all I said, and it spun up this website for me. Okay, and this website in total took about 5 prompts, just a little bit of refining, connecting different things like Supabase and N8N, which I'm going to show you, but it's really that simple. And I'll even show you the prompts over here. This was the exact prompt I used, and then it created this complete website for me. And then I just kept conversating with it, and after about 5 or 6 prompts, I had this built, that example I showed you in the beginning of this video. So that's how simple it is to vibe code. And the results after that one prompt, I mean, you saw them. A stunning website with complete functionality and control. I can start my agents and my automations from it. I have a spot to view all of my content from those agents and automations. It's just a beautiful setup. So vibe coding is like the beta version right now of what regular coding is going to be like in the next 2 years. Eventually, it's all going to be natural language. You're not going to have to know a lick of code. All you're going to need to do is know how to ask questions and type in things to the agents and to the AI. So you no longer have to spend years of your life learning how to code. Vibe coding allows you to turn your ideas into reality and that reality into profits very fast. And like I said, in our community, we teach you how to activate Stripe so you can start charging monthly subscriptions or one-time products for people to actually purchase access to use your agent, which is connected to an interface and it has all the functionality. It's beautiful. And this can be anything, right? Internal dashboards, web applications, agents, automations, you name it. So I'm sick of staying in presentations. I'm ready to build because this stuff is exciting. So let's dive right into our tech stack. And I'm going to be showing you how everything is connecting. So I don't know about you, but I'm a very visual person. So that's what I'm going to be showing you is I'm going to visually be showing you how everything is connecting during this process. So right off the bat, this is our tech stack. This is all you need to build fully functioning web apps now. It's quite amazing. So we have Lovable number 1, which is going to be the vibe coding software. It's where we're going to be typing in what we want to build. We have Supabase, which is going to be our backend. This is where we're going to be storing the content from our third app, which is N8N, which is the agents app. This is where we build our agents and our automations. It's an amazing thing. So let me show you how all of these things are connecting. I like thinking of this a little bit like a triangle, okay? And Lovable is at the top because this is our front end. Remember, we have Lovable, which is an interface where we can start our agents and we can bring information back to the front end so that not only we can view it or see it internally, but we can also publish it so other people can see it. We then have Supabase and N8N on either side of this triangle. And what's happening is Lovable is like our command center. We can call this the CC, the command center. In Lovable, what we can do is we can begin our agents and automations, whether it be through a form, a chat window, a button, whatever we want to do. In Lovable, we can vibe code it and type into AI, hey, place a button here, hey, make this form, have it connect to my agent. And this is going to be connected with a webhook. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. But Lovable was basically connecting to N8N with, like I said, a webhook. And N8N is going to go through and do its automation, and whatever functionality you have set up there, it's going to complete that like normal. So if you don't know how to build agents yet, another reason I recommend joining the AI Foundations community right here on my shirt, or watching my full agent mastery on YouTube in the upper right-hand corner. But what this is going to do is it's going to run through that agentic process, whatever you have built, and then it's going to send it back to Lovable. Once it's back in Lovable, what Lovable is going to do is it's going to send it to the back end programmatically. So it's going to be connected to our Supabase, and send it to Supabase. So we have a storage container for all of our blogs or all of our runs of this agent. And this is just like a table, like an Airtable or like a souped up Google Sheets that you can use. And whenever we want to view that information, we can view it however we want it. But Lovable is going to be taking the information from the back end and presenting it in like a front end web application type view. We can create graphs, we can import libraries, we can do whatever we want. But this is our tech stack, okay? 3 simple tools, and there's different ways you could go about this. You could connect N8N to Supabase if you want, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to keep it as simple as possible, build out a simple automation in N8N that can create blog posts, send that information to Lovable after we create an interface. Lovable will send it to a Supabase table, which we can create in like 3 clicks. And then we're going to get a beautiful front end view that we can then publish to the world, or we can leave internal and use it internally. So this is the setup. Let's get right into building. We're going to start with N8N, we're going to move to Supabase, and then we're going to build out the functionality in Lovable once we have those 2 things created. Very simple, very quick. Let's dive in. So in N8N, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Create Workflow. And I recommend you follow along because this is going to be simple and anybody can follow along and do this. I'm going to rename this workflow in the upper left-hand corner and call it Blogging Agent, and then I'll just, or we can leave it Blog and Agent, that'll be okay. And I'm gonna name it Holistic, just so I remember which type of blogging agent it is. And now we need to add a first step. For now, I'm going to add a manual trigger for testing purposes. And like I said, if this is all going over your head, watch my full agent mastery course, which is, you know, a video below this one on my channel. I think it's the last video I recorded. And so this is going to allow us to manually start the workflow. Then what I want to add is a set node, so we can set variables for this agent to look at each and every time. And so I'm going to keep this simple. You can add in as many variables as you want to for your blogging agent, but all I want is topic and style. And so these values that are coming in for topic and style are going to be dynamic, meaning they're going to be changing every time. But for testing purposes, we're able to type in fixed values here. So we can type in fixed topics, and this will be passed to the agent along with the style. And the agent can use that in order to create blog posts along with some system instructions that we're also going to create. So next we need to add in our AI agent, or the functionality of our application. I'm going to hit this plus button and type in AI agent. I'm going to select it. And then what we want to do is, instead of connected chat trigger node for the source for prompt, let's just define it below. We can run this set node so that we can pull in those variables to the AI agent. And as you can see, now in the input section, we have topic and style that we can dynamically pull into the prompt, just as if we were typing a prompt into ChatGPT, for instance. And so I can make this an expression and then open up this big window and say user topic, and then I can drag in the topic, and then I can enter down a few times and say user style. And then you guessed it, I can drag in the style beneath that. I'll enter that down. And so now the agent is going to have a topic and a style that it can use in order to create blog posts. But how does it know how to create blog posts? Well, that's where we need custom instructions. So I'm going to add a system message here, and I'm going to use the instructions from my last agent in the example that I showed you. And so I copied those instructions, and I'll run you through them, but I'm going to make this an expression, open it up, and then I'm going to paste in those instructions. As you can see, these are all instructions. I'm literally instructing the agent on how to perform a successful minimal blog post in the format that I want. So I say, a provocative, unapologetically confident blogging agent that crafts bold, minimalist, natural health posts. This agent fearlessly dismantles conventional medical narratives, exposes the failures of our disease management system, and challenges readers to abandon the broken status quo. So basically, telling this agent to act like completely confident, unapologetic, and create blog posts the exact way I want it to. And then I get into examples for how I want it to take in certain topics. So for instance, rising heart disease in young adults, and then style theoretical. And I give an example of how I want it to output in these instructions. And then at the bottom here, I say output each blog with only the blog in JSON object format like, and then I give a JSON object format. And this stuff should be prerequisite before trying to vibe code, because you need to understand how to build an agent at least if you want to put it on a front end. So that's why I always recommend our AI Agent Mastery course in the community that I showed you in the beginning of this video. It's the quickest way to learn agents and get up to speed where you can start building apps. But anyway, what we can do now is we can add a structured output parser that allows this agent to create blog posts like this and put it in this blog object right here. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to tick on require specific output format. I'm going to turn that on. Then I'm going to select this output parser button and create a structured output parser. Then I'm just going to paste in that example just like that. And now the agent will always output like this: blog, then blog post here with whatever it generates. So we're not getting any extra text. We're only getting the blog post. Next, I'll add in a chat model. And for this, I'm going to be using OpenRouter, which is just a way to connect to any AI model in the world. As you can see, it has Mistral, Google Gemini. And actually, how about we use Google Gemini? So I'll use Google/Gemini, and then I'll do 2.5 Flash. How about we do 2.5 Flash? That'll be nice. And so now it can have access to the internet. It can use Google. It can take in all of the system instructions that we gave it right here, take in a user style and a user topic, and create blog posts around that. So let's test that. And that's the beautiful thing about a set field, is it makes it easy to test. Why we shouldn't, I have no idea. Drink 2% milk. Then we can type in a style. My two styles are going to be either informative or theoretical. So more so going off facts or theory. For this one, I'll do informative. And this is just placeholder information so I can test out this agent. And then I'll hit execute workflow. Let's see how it runs. It's using that model that I selected in OpenRouter. I highly recommend you check out OpenRouter. It's pretty sweet. That was pretty quick. So let's check it out. And so it has blog output. Beautiful. Here's a concept the dairy industry hopes you never grasp. 2% milk isn't a health food. It's a marketing masterpiece designed to make you think you're making a healthy choice while stripping out vital nutrients. So it's following its persona or role that I gave it for sure. But now it's time to create another set field so that we can prepare it to send back to Lovable in the exact way we want. So I'm going to hit this plus button and type in set, and then I'm going to add a field here, and I'm just going to name this title. Let's create a title field. I'll create another field for content, and maybe I want an author in there, and I'll just make the author my name. Content, we can drag in that blog post like that. And for title, since I have no value in here, I need to go back to the original set field right here. And how about we add in a nice title field, and I can just put like the lie about 2% milk, and then I can save. Then I'll just execute this workflow once again so we can get some test data into here. Okay, we have the test data all pulled in. And so now we have our blog pulling in, we have the author, which will be fixed, and we need to pull in our title. So I can open up the first edit field node and drag and drop that title into title. So now we have a title, the content, and my author field. So now this automation is ready to go. And it's literally that quick to create like a blogging agent. It's pretty amazing. And now what we need to do is we need to set up our Supabase so that it's prepared to take in these blog posts. And that can be done very quickly. We can actually have Lovable create our table and do all of the backend kind of nitty-gritty stuff that requires a little bit of technical experience. But with Lovable, it makes it easy. You don't need technical experience. You can ask it questions for how things are working, and it will explain it to you. So I am on supabase.com. They have a relatively good pricing. You can start for free for simple websites and passion projects. I'm on the pro account because it's definitely worth it in my eyes. So I'm going to go to my dashboard and create a new project. I'm going to select new project, and then I'm going to name this the blogging holistic database. You can really name it whatever you want. And then I'll just generate a password here. Then I'm going to hit create new project, and then I understand. All right, while the project is creating, let's go back to N8N and add two things that we're going to need to connect to Lovable. I'm going to drag the manual trigger up there. I'm going in the upper right-hand corner to type in Webhook, and I'm going to select Webhook here. I'm going to change HTTP method to post, And now we have a URL we can send data to. I'm going to drag that right here and connect it to my edit fields node. So this is going to allow us to send info from Lovable to this workflow. And in order to respond to Lovable, we need a respond to Webhook node. So I'm going to hit the plus button again and type in Webhook, and you're going to see respond to Webhook. This returns data back to the source where it came from. So I'm going to select respond to Webhook, and then I'm going to click off, and I will delete that connection and connect it to the set fields node here at the end. And so we're going to need to configure this respond to Webhook. I'll just name it respond, and then I'll name it incoming data. And you don't have to do that, just for organization if you want to. And for incoming data, I'm going to click on this original webhook, and where it says respond, I'm going to change immediately to using respond to webhook node. And I'm going to change the path of this webhook just so it's a little easier for me to see. I'll name it like entry blog, beautiful, made the URL look cleaner. And now I can click out of here. And next we need to set up the way data comes in to our Lovable. So this is something you just kind of learn as you go, but I want it incoming to Lovable in a certain way with certain variables. So I'm going to click this drop down and select respond with a custom JSON body. And this is stuff you learn in like agent basics, and it doesn't take long to learn this. I learned how to write JSON in like an hour, and I created a 2-hour module on it, and now everyone in the community knows how to do this. So very simple. I'm a non-developer. I learned it by questioning and asking AI how to do it. But basically what we want to do is we want to have a response body. So we want this format coming back to Lovable in this way once we create our website. So for title, I'm just going to drag in the title field just like that. So now we have JSON title. The title will appear here, but right now the title's empty. For content, I'm going to drag that right after content. And JSON objects really don't like all the white space. So in order to get rid of that white space, what we can do is we can put JSON content in parentheses. And then before it, we can do JSON.stringify. And so now, if I go back to that big window, it removes all the white space and just puts it in one nice condensed object, which is perfect. And then for author, in between those quotes, I can just drag in the author, and now it's pretty much ready to go. So we're going to be getting this response every time, and all of this data is going to be starting from the form on the Lovable website. So I can save this for now, and we're pretty much ready to go on this end, and we'll come back to this. But next, it's time for the fun part. It's time to build our interface for this agent. And this is pretty standard, right? You're going to be sending information to a webhook in order to trigger and to begin this automation. So whatever information you send to this little guy right here, that's going to be used in the blogging agent, which I'll rename blogging agent, in order to craft the blog. So I can send in a title, I can send in style, topic, which we'll have to change these once we send some test data. It will go through that blogging process and then respond and send it back to Lovable, which will connect to our Supabase. Beautiful. So let's dive into Lovable. I'm going to go back to the Lovable homepage, and I'm on the starter plan, I think, like the cheapest plan for Lovable, so you can follow along like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this Supabase dropdown. I'm going to change my workspace to only visible to me. And I'm going to hit the Supabase dropdown, and this is where we connect to our project. I'm going to hover over my organization and then find the blogging holistic database, and I'm going to select it. So it now has access and control over all of my databases, my tables, my SQL editor, literally everything. So it can do it for me. I don't need to come in here and create my own tables. We'll vibe code it, right? We'll go with the vibes, and we'll have AI do it for us. So now it's time for the fun part, connecting our agent and turning it into an application, and also just building a fun website. So let's do that. Honestly, I'm going to go back to my presentation and use this same prompt that I used for my other website, and you can copy this if you'd like. I'm going to say, build me a blogging website that has a natural health and holistic feel that allows for a single blog page, an archive page, and it allows me to add a new blog with a quick form field. And then I can say, what should those form fields be? The form fields should be title, then I can put single line text, and then topic, then I can put text area, so it has like a bigger box rather than like a single line text. And then I can put style, then I can say drop down list with options for informative and theoretical. So I'm really just typing exactly what I want. So now my form fields are going to look like this. And then I can say like this form should connect to this webhook URL right here. I'll copy that URL, and this is for the incoming data. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to say that form, once submitted, should connect and trigger to my N8N blogging agent using this webhook. So when I say using this webhook and I paste in that URL, this is going to trigger the automation once I hit form submit, or once I submit a form to the website. And so I'm going to enter down a few times and say, it will return information from the webhook in this format. I can enter down, and then I can go to the blogging agent and then copy my format. So I'll paste that in, and instead of like those dynamic fields, I'll just say like title here, and then I'll say entire blog post here, and then author here. And then I'll give it commands to create my Supabase database as well while it's at it, right? Create my backend database while you're doing the front end as well. Simple. Create my Supabase titles, or not titles, but tables, in order to accept this webhook response data and to present it on the front end. Then I can put make a loading bar once I hit generate article from the form, and wait for the blogging agent in N8N to do its work. Then I can add some styling elements, make this website have earthy tones, and be a very simple personal blogging website. So I have everything I need now. One prompt, let's see how it does. And remember, the main things to think about is I'm using my natural language, okay? I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer. But what I do know is I know how to build AI agents and how to get information to my AI agent via this webhook, and how to respond to Lovable with the webhook. All I know is the tools to use, okay? I know I need to use N8N. I know I need to connect to my Supabase so that it has a nice backend to store all the blogs. And I know Lovable is going to build my front end for me. That simple. So I've connected my Supabase down here, remember, by hitting AI Foundations and then connecting it. This is a simple sign-in once you create your Supabase account and connecting it to Lovable. But I'm going to send this off, and let's see the results after a one-shot prompt. Now, there's bound to be a situation where we're going to have to ask it to modify something, to fix something, but that's just normal. And so then it says, let me start by setting up the database structure to store your blog posts. And then it has all of these things in here where it's going to add row level security. It's going to create my table in Supabase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit apply changes. When I hit apply changes, it automatically sends in this message. It says, I've reviewed the SQL command and it looks good. Please run it. So this would be the same as me going into Supabase, running to the SQL editor, typing in that big command in order to create my blog post table. But as you can see, it just populated in here. So now it's created the table with an ID field, a title field, content, author, topic, style, created that, updated that. And it did all that for us in Lovable. So now it's creating the website now that the backend is up and running. So that's how quick the backend was created. You see, all I had to do is create my account and create a project, connect it, and now it's working for me. So it says, perfect, I've created your beautiful natural health blogging website, and it just got done. So now the preview has finished and it's just loading right now. So I can't wait to see what this looks like. Okay, so we have this nice website, Earth Wisdom Chronicles, and it's a personal blogging website. So I can close this sidebar. You can change styling elements like, okay, make the footer all the way down, that's not really the stuff we're worried about right now. What I want to do is I want to hit new article and see how that works. Because as you can see, it says that it has connected to my webhook, my test webhook, and it has a beautiful loading spinner while my AI agent generates content. Responsive design works perfectly on all devices. So if I go up here and I change this, like, what does it look like on mobile? Okay, we could probably make this look a little better. We can do that later. But for now, let's hit new article and see if this thing works. I type in my title, my topic, and my details, and I choose my writing style, and I hit generate article. Now, first, let's send some test data here, because if you don't remember, we haven't connected how this data is coming in to the set field yet. We just have fixed information in here. So we can connect all of that very simply. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit execute workflow on the webhook, and I'm going to send test data to the URL. So for article title, I'll put testing, hello world, topic and details, I'm going to put natural health rocks, writing style, we'll do theoretical, then I'm gonna hit generate article. And technically it should send the data to this webhook if everything worked out correctly. I'm going to hit generate article, and right now looks like it's loading. Let's see. Okay, so it did pass data to this webhook. I'm going to stop that because right now it's still just sending the fixed info to the agent. So what we need to do is we need to grab all this data that it sent from the webhook in the body and put that in our set field. So I'm going to select edit fields. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this drop down on incoming data, close up the headers, and then I'm going to grab some of these body parameters and paste them in, or drag and drop them in under their respective categories. So topic, drag and drop, put it under topic. So now this will dynamically change every time. Style, I'm going to delete that fixed style and drag in the dynamic style. And then title, I'm going to delete that dynamic title, the fixed title, and drag in the dynamic title. So now it's ready to go. And now we can do a full proper test now that this information is dynamically pulling in from the webhook. I'm going to hit save. Once again, I'm going to hit execute workflow, and then I'm going to go back to our blogging website, and let's actually do a real test now. So maybe we can do tap water dangers. Then for topic and details, we can put tap water is dangerous and causes health issues or something like that. Theoretical, we can change to informative, then we can hit generate article. So right now when I hit generate article, as you can see, it's not providing that nice loading spinner while the AI agent generates content. If we go to our AI agent, it was generating content, but it says model output doesn't fit the required format. Sometimes it does that with Google Gemini. What you can do is you can go to the settings of your agent and hit retry on fail. I'll just make it 5 times and wait between tries 1,000 milliseconds. Sometimes it just needs to try again. So let's once again go back here. And then once again, what we're going to do is we're just going to hit execute workflow. And this is a test automation. So it's waiting for us to call the URL, which calling the URL happens when we hit generate article. So I'm going to hit generate article. The blog agent will run. And now that we have that setting where it's going to retry if it fails, it should, if it does fail, retry. As you can see, it failed once, which sometimes happens, especially with these structured outputs here, but we can keep on seeing if that's going to work. So as you can see, it went through the second time, and it successfully passed the information to the respond node, just like this. And so if we go back to our website, I haven't looked yet, but if we go back, it has the latest post. So this worked out just fine. And as you can see, it's a very nice UI. If I go to Supabase, what you're going to notice when I refresh is it also pulls the content with a unique ID into a backend so that we can pull this wherever. We have literally a dated system created by AI where we can store all of our articles. And we can now just view our articles here and create our articles here. So let me show you how to edit this. Maybe I want to say the loading spinner when the article is generating is not spinning. Make that more attractive as I am waiting. So I could say the functionality of everything is working great, but also add a blog archive page. And so maybe I want an archive page rather than just a single page where I look at all of my blog posts here. What I can do is I can send this off. So I'm now saying the loading spinner when the article is generating is not spinning, make it more attractive, and also add a completely new page. I'm going to send this off. This is amazing. Okay, so it says it successfully created all of these. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh this page and let's see where everything is. Okay, so it added a nice archive button up top. So if I select archive, it now takes me to a cool blog archive page, which I can remove some of these tags if I want to as well. But when I hit read more, okay, it's not taking me to the single blog page, so I can tell it that real quick. So I said when I click on read more, make sure it takes me to the single blog page, and also get rid of the tags on the blog archive page as well. You can literally make changes with natural language now. It is absolutely insane. I am sending that one off, and I'm excited to see this. All right, changes made, refresh the page, and as you can see, the tags are removed. When I hit read more, it now takes me to the single blog page. Go back to home, archive, can click read more, works perfectly. So now let's see if that loading bar worked. I'm actually interested to see that. I'm going to hit new article, and then I'm going to, it's kind of cool how it shows latest post down there, but I'm going to create a new article now. So let's say the breakfast scam. Maybe I'm wanting to create a post about how breakfast is a scam. And then I can describe the topic. I can say how the food industry profited off the idea and saying that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I'm going to choose an informative writing style, and then I'm going to hit generate article as soon as I hit test. And usually you don't have to do this if you activate your workflow and you use the production URL instead of the test URL. But for testing purposes, I always like using the test, coming in here, hitting that, and then hitting generate article. So the spinner still isn't working, so we'd have to figure that out. But let's see how the functionality works with the archive page, see if it adds the blog. So that was pretty quick. The breakfast scam. It's an established creed drilled into us from childhood, okay? And then it's going into that style, which is pretty cool. It even has recent posts down here. I'll hit view all, and now I can come in here. We have my blogging website completely built, literally in a matter of like 30 minutes. I mean, when you understand how to build this stuff, you can start cranking these sites out and these applications out with your internal data very, very quickly. Now imagine if I didn't have to explain every step in this tutorial and I was just vibe coding and I was just building out my agent in silence. I could have got this done in about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even less. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm serious. If you want to go all in on this, then join AI Foundations. There is no other place on the planet that has a vibe coding course in the depths like we do, where you can turn your agents into apps. And remember, it was created by Paulo, a professional software developer before AI was cool. And he's integrating AI and showing you how to do it without code. So it's quite an amazing experience. I'll leave a link to join in the description and the top pinned comment. But if you enjoyed this concept and you would like to see more builds, then leave them in the comments below. Let me know what you want me to build with vibe coding and N8N, and I'm going to do it. I'll build out the database, I'll build out the agent, and we can build things together. So drop a comment, drop a like, and subscribe if you did enjoy this to stay up to date on all of AI Foundations' new content. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.